Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Firewood at the Furnace, and have I got a good one for you today? The old, I don't want to say argument, but the old conflict between bundling firewood and bagging firewood, we're going to get into today. And I get a lot of messages all the time from people asking me how I built my wood frame bundler, what the dimensions are on it. They're just getting into bundling some firewood and they need some advice. I get questions all the time about why do I bundle rather than bag my firewood. I even get some questions sometimes. People want to know what the actual cost is. So today I've got five reasons for you to consider what your choice is. I think there are advantages and disadvantages to both. But I'm just going to give you my opinion. I'm going to give you my reasons. And for those of you who bag firewood, don't change the channel. Don't go anywhere, because there may be some information here, some points that I make that could cause you to maybe reconsider your decision. But we're going to get into that today, and I'm going to explain all my reasons, so stick around. So it's pretty cold and windy outside today, so we're going to do this inside the shed here. One thing I can't stand is a bunch of wind noise in my videos, so I try to avoid that whenever I can. But point number one that I'm going to make about bundles over bags is pretty simple, and it's just presentation. I think that they present better bundled up for a variety of reasons, the first of which is just the fact that the customer can see the product. They can see what kind of wood it is. If they have knowledge on different species of wood, they know if they're getting hardwood or if they're getting spruce or pine. They can see if it's dry. They can look for check marks on the side, cracks on the end grain. They can look for bark. They can actually see the product that they're getting ready to purchase. With bags, the customer does not have that option. They really don't even know what kind of wood they're buying. It's really difficult to see through the mesh bags to see if it's pine, if it's hardwood, or what it is. So the presentation of the wood, I think, is the first advantage of bundles over bags. All right, point number two is the versatility of doing bundles. You might say, Brad, what do you mean by versatility? You can pretty much do everything in bags as well, but that is true. However, when you're making bundles, you have the option to choose whether you want to make a half a cubic foot bundle, 0.75 cubic foot bundle, or a 1 cubic foot bundle, and you don't have to change anything. Now, you can put a half a cubic foot in a 3/4 cubic foot or 1 cubic foot bag if you want, but it's going to be loose, it's going to be saggy, it's going to be just not filled up, and the customer is going to feel like they're not getting what they're paying for if that bag is not full. So you have two options. You can either sell that loose bag with a half a cubic foot of firewood in a 1 cubic foot bag, or you can buy different sized bags. You buy a smaller bag to put a smaller quantity of wood in, then that's okay. But we're going to get to the problem with that here in just a few minutes. You change nothing with bundles. If you have a retailer that wants to sell 3/4 of a cubic foot, you make them 3/4 of a cubic foot. If you want to sell 1 cubic foot out of your roadside stand, you make 1 cubic foot. Nothing changes. The wrap stays the same, everything stays the same, and there's no waste. Also, you have the option to do different length wood. If you want to do 12-inch wood for smoker bundles, you can do that with wrap. If you want to do 16 or 18-inch lengths, you can do that. Same problem with the bags. If you're going to do shorter length wood, you're going to have extra space left over in your bag. Another point that I wanted to make about the versatility of doing bundles over bags is the personal choices that you have. When it comes to your branding, when it comes to the personalization of what the product is you're selling, I like to put labels inside of my bundles. It has my company name. It tells them what they're getting, tells them the amount that they're getting. It contains my Maryland Forest Products operator's license number, which is required in our state to be on there, and it has my contact information. It's kind of more difficult to do that with bagged firewood. I know some guys have stickers made, waterproof stickers made, that they can slap on the outside of the bag, and that is an option, but that's an additional cost as well. So we're getting into options. Handles. I put handles on my bag, on my bundles. Yes, bags already come with, when you close the bag up, you've already got a handle. So that might be an advantage of a bag over bundles, but this is something that's entirely up to you, and you have the choice on how you want to present your product when it comes to bundles. Branding and presentation, the versatility of all that is another great advantage. Now, point number 3 comes the big one. Remember, there's 5 points I'm going to make, but number 3 is probably the one that you've all been waiting for. And I've got my note sheet here because it's a lot of information, and that is cost. The bottom line for you as a business owner or you as a hobbyist that's trying to sell a little bit of firewood on the side, no matter what kind of business you're in, should be what your overhead is, what your cost is to produce that bundle of firewood. And I've got all the details for you right here. I'm going to show you some examples on the screen, but we'll start with bundling firewood, and then we'll move on to bags. Actually, let's do it the other way around. We're going to start with bags, and then I'll tell you about my bundles. So, I've got several examples here for you from some retailers, some very common and popular retailers that sell firewood bags. The first one I have here is from Uline. Uline is a very popular packaging supply company, and I'll show it to you here on the screen, but you can get 100 firewood bags, mesh firewood bags from them for $104. However, shipping to my address, now this is information that's current as of when this video is made in February of 2025, but shipping to my address here in Maryland would be an additional $26.02, and that's for standard shipping, the UPS ground, the cheapest shipping that's available, for a total of $130.02. That works out to $1.30 per bundle that you need to either add on to your price or just eat when you sell that bundle of firewood. Now that's from Uline. Northern Woodsman is another really popular place to acquire mesh firewood bags, and they sell their bags for $64.75 for 100 bags, and it's $19.41 for shipping here to my address, for a grand total of $84.16 for 100 bags. That works out obviously to 84 cents per bundle that it's costing you to produce your firewood bags. Now, where I go all the time for hopefully the cheapest price, and it's not always, but a lot of time Amazon is the cheapest place that you can find something that you're looking for currently. And Amazon has firewood mesh bags. However, I could not find them on Prime. No retailer had them available for Prime, which it would be free shipping. And they were $68.95 for 100 and $17.95 for shipping, for a grand total of $86.90 for 100 bags, which works out to 87 cents per bundle, 86.9 cents per bundle. Now, I did locate something on Amazon Prime that would be even cheaper. However, it is not a firewood bag, it's an onion bag or produce bag, which looks very similar to the Firewood mesh bags, but they were a little cheaper. To get 50 of them was $39.99, and they were Prime. So if you are a Prime member of Amazon, then you get free shipping, so that's a cost savings. So $39.99 for 50 works out to 80 cents per bundle. So let's just say an average between all four of those examples I just gave you, we will use 85 cents that it's going to cost you, average, depending on where you get your materials from and your supplies from, to produce a bag of firewood. Now we're going to move on to wrap and bundles. All these examples that I'm giving you right now are going to be the cheapest way that I could find or think to produce your firewood. So I am not going to include prices for my labels. You have options on that. You can print out a piece of paper on your printer at home and include a label, which will cost you next to nothing. Or you can do like I do and have postcard stock printed up with your logos, your colors, and all that kind of stuff, a barcode. It's entirely up to you how you want to do that. Also, the handles. Whether or not you want to put a handle on, I'm not including in this. I'm giving you the information for the cheapest way to produce bundles or bags. So I'm strictly going to talk about my wrap, and I get my wrap from packagingsuppliesbymail.com. Done a lot of research, checked a lot of different places, and that is the cheapest place that I was able to find it. So I get my wrap in a case of 4 rolls. I use 90 gauge, 12-inch wide stretch wrap. It's 1,500 foot long per roll, and for a whole case, which is 4 rolls, costs me $64.23. Now if you divide that by 4, it comes out to $16.05 per roll. And you might ask about shipping. This company that I use, packagingsuppliesbymail.com, offers free shipping, so no shipping cost on that. So $16.05 per roll of 1,500 feet. Now one bundle wrapped 4 times, like the Eastonmade Wrap Master does. It wraps it 4 times, and if you're doing 12 inches around each side, you're wrapping 4 times. That works out to 16 feet of wrap per bundle. So if you've got 1,500 feet of wrap on a roll, and you're using 16 foot at a time, that works out to about 93 3/4 bundles. So we'll just call it 93. We'll go on the low side and say you get 93 bundles out of 1 roll of wrap. So if you divide that by the cost of that 1 roll, 93 divided by $16.05 that 1 roll cost us, it works out to 17 cents per bundle. Just 17 cents. So we said that the average for a bag number we were going to use was 85 cents. If you subtract that from 17 cents, you're saving about 68 to 70 cents per bundle. Now you might say it's only 68 or 70 cents, but that adds up very quickly. Depending on how many bundles you're selling per year, for every 100 bundles that you're making, you could be saving yourself 68 to 70 bucks every single time. Now that 68 to $70 buys you a whole nother case, 4 more rolls of wrap. And if you're doing a large volume of bundles or bags, let's say 1,000, you're up near $700 of savings just by doing wrap instead of bundles. So that is point number 3. That's kind of a big one. It's the big one for me anyway. And we'll move on. All right, we're up to point number 4, and that is the durability. I've had firewood bundles sit in my firewood stand when I've loaded it up for upwards of 2 months, even closer to 3 months sometimes. Before, if I load my firewood stand up, I can get close to 50 bundles in it. And I've had them sit in there for that period of time through the winter or through the season when it's not really busy. People aren't buying campfire bundles. And I've never had a problem with this wrap. It stays tight, it stays durable, it stays flexible, and I've never had a problem with a wrap busting open, ever. Not once. So the wrap has performed well for me. Now, when you're talking about bags, if you set one of those mesh polypropylene plastic bags outside in the sunlight, the UV rays from the sun will disintegrate them. I had a firewood bag of wood that Shibe actually gave to me at Paul Bunyan one year, and it sat in the back of my truck through the winter because he gave it to me at Paul Bunyan in October, and I didn't get around to using or burning that wood until the following spring. And just in that time, when I lifted that bag out of my truck by the handle, it was just brittle. I mean, just crumbled. And it makes a mess. It falls apart. So if you've got wood sitting around in bags for, I'd say, 2 to 3 months in direct sunlight, you're going to have a problem with those. So durability is point number 4. Now, point number 5 might be a big deal to some of you. It might not be a big deal to some of you, but I thought it was something worth talking about, and that is waste. A lot of people are concerned about the amount of waste that we produce in this country and the landfills that are filling up and whether you're recycling or not. Used wrap, when you cut the wrap off of this bundle, it takes up much less space than a firewood bag will and uses about half the amount of plastics that one single firewood bag does. 16 foot of wrap, which is what I use on these bundles, 16 foot long by 12 inches wide, weighs about between 0.06 and 0.07 ounces. So not a whole lot of weight. It compresses very well, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. However, a mesh firewood bag weighs double and does not compact into the small amount of space that the wrap will. So when it comes to waste, I think that the wrap has an advantage as well. So the purpose of this video today was just to relay some of my opinions to the viewers who have questions, right? I get a lot, like I said in the beginning, I get a lot of questions from viewers about why I choose to do bundles over bags. I know there's a lot of back and forth in the community about bundles versus bags, but I wanted to give you a list of the reasons why I choose to do it the way that I choose. I just think it makes more sense financially, it makes more sense economically, it makes more sense when it comes to the environment, and it just makes more sense to the customer to be able to see the product that they're purchasing. I like to have the option to brand it and to put my own branding on the product, especially since I am in retail stores now. So those are the reasons, and I hope it's helpful to some of you that have the questions. For those of you doing bags, if that's what you like to do, then I think it's perfectly okay. The bags serve the same purpose, but I just think that the reasons that I discussed today are the reasons why I choose to do it the way I choose. So that's going to be it. I hope you all stay warm. Single digits in Maryland here again. Helicopters are flying over in the middle of my video, but that's okay. We will see you next week at 7 a.m. Take care, everybody.